Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to a small city along the long and deep Lake Okanagan in British Columbia, Canada. The depths of the lake go up to 761 feet and supposedly house a giant creature similar to the Loch Ness Monster. This area receives about 12 inches of rainfall each year, with 1/3 of that amount as snow. It is a high-elevation plateau that reaches around 4,500 feet in height. Temperatures here dip well below zero in winter, but summers are hot and drier. To the east of town lies a broad and sloping expanse of forest. Pine, fir, and spruce trees grow in a thick canopy that can hide any animal seeking shelter there. There's plenty of food, with Oregon grapes, wild currants, gooseberries, and elderberries yielding calories in season to denizens of the forest. Common animals here include moose, elk, white-tailed, and mule deer, as well as coyotes, wolves, cougars, and black bears. Residents of Naramata are fairly accustomed to seeing bears in their area. They are frequently seen passing through yards and crossing fields to get to resources. The bears in the woods around town were increasing in population, which pushed females with young closer into town. The big boars were threats to cubs, and people in town accommodated the bears, allowing them to raise their cubs in a less dangerous area, or maybe an area with different dangers than the woods. Around 1:30 a.m. on August 24, 2022, Sam Coventry was checking on the plants growing in his garden. Sam had had a difficult time sleeping on occasion, and tonight was another one of those nights. Whenever he had sleeping problems, he would go out and work in his garden and gaze at the stars to pass the time until he felt he could sleep. Sam had worked hard on getting his farm off the ground and was growing a nice bunch of grapes after taking care of the plant for a few years. The plant had yielded bunches of delicious grapes and had become a point of pride for Sam. He'd seen a few bears on his property over the last few years. He had once watched a sow with 2 cubs climbing his fruit trees and just wandering around the neighborhood. His fruit trees had developed into quite an attraction to many of the bears, and he enjoyed seeing them. They didn't bother him and tended to avoid being anywhere near him, so they seemed harmless to him. After Sam had worked for a while, he began to feel like he might be able to get to sleep. He made his way through the darkness toward his home. As he glanced up, he could see a dark form moving toward him, lit by the dim moonlight. By the time the shape got to within a few feet of him, Sam recognized it as a black bear. Now, a little background information is needed to understand exactly why this bear had visited Sam's orchard. Even when located in town, the sugary scent of fruit tree flowers can drift for miles around their location, depending on precipitation and seasonality. In the early weeks of spring, fruit trees release immense amounts of aromatic oils from flower petals that evaporate and travel on the breeze. It is Mother Nature's way of telling bees to visit and pollinate the flowers. Bees smell the aromatic oils, but bears also smell them and are just as interested. An example of how orchards affect bears exists in every backcountry homestead. Here in Idaho, there are a few abandoned orchards that big boars claim in their territory so that they can reap the bounty of fruit when they are ripe. Bear hunters are keen to this tendency and use the abandoned orchards to find bear sign and determine if there are any bears in the area. Sam knew that the bear could kill him if it got to his neck or any other area that had a significant blood flow. He threw his hands up around his neck and turned his right shoulder toward the bear, hoping to protect vulnerable parts of his body. The bear reached up toward Sam's shoulder and raked its claws down the back of his arm, opening up shallow gashes. Now fully alarmed and flushed with adrenaline, Sam twisted back toward the bear and flung his forearm toward the closest part of the bear, which happened to be its neck. Swinging his fist toward the bear, Sam's punch landed with a solid thud on the bear's windpipe. Following Sam's unexpected counterattack, the bear stumbled back a few steps. It was apparently struck with fear. It spun on its heels and dashed back toward the brush near Sam's acreage. Sam stared at the bear as it bounded off and wondered if this was really happening. He quietly chuckled to himself and chalked it up to just another one of the strange things that have happened in his life. Following the brief altercation, Sam went into his home and examined the gashes the bear had left in his arm. He cleaned up the wounds himself and decided to skip the hospital altogether. Following the run-in with the bear, Sam was reluctant and even embarrassed to discuss the matter. He expressed sorrow at having socked the bear in the throat and understood that the bear attacked because they were in a bottleneck and had thought I had no choice. This was the first time Sam had seen this bear on his property and hasn't seen the bear since. Conservation officers indicate that the bear doesn't present an ongoing threat to the public and have not taken any action against it. They maintained observation of the area for further problems with the bear, but noted that none had occurred. Sam's altercation with the bear occurred 8 years after Naramata initiated a Bear Smart community program. Sam's fistfight with the bear was the first and only known attack since the program began. Sam hasn't let the fight keep him from his hobbies. He states he has no anxiety about a repeat attack, and he is now fine and healthy. I'm pretty sure that if Sam takes a careful look at the bushes around his farm, he might see a slightly worried bear face peering back, probably making sure that Sam isn't still guarding those grapes. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Do you think Sam's injuries may have been worse if he'd run into the bear closer to its food source? Did Sam's timely throat punch prevent the bear from injuring him more severely? Do you think the bear that attacked Sam will be raiding any other fruit orchards? The next time you are in your garden, will you glance over your shoulder just to make sure there are no bears sneaking up on you? I'm pretty sure I will be. I'll be glad to read and reply to your thoughts, so please post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.